Welcome to another Reach Higher Thursday. I'm Nikki Devitt, president of the Petoskey Regional Chamber of Commerce, and today I'm excited to be joined by Jennifer Wixon, who is the program coordinator and instructional faculty for early childhood education at North Central Michigan College. That is a mouthful. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about your background, high school. Where was your continuing education? Where did you go to school?
Well, I am born and raised Michigander, and I went to high school in Dexter, right outside of Ann Arbor. From there, I became a Spartan, and I majored in early childhood education with a additional major in elementary education. I immediately went on for my master's degree at Purdue University and majored in child development and family studies with a specialization in early childhood education. And I'm currently considering pursuing my PhD, which can be a little tricky when we live up here in the Great White North, but I'm bound and determined to figure it out. So that's kind of the education trajectory I have taken over the years. And professionally, I've done a lot of different things to get to this point of instructional faculty, is like being a professor. And I have had an array of experiences all in early childhood, but really moving through the career pathway, starting as a Head Start teacher and moving into working in a kindergarten classroom, a first grade teacher, being a child care program administrator, and all the years teaching adjunct, and here I am now, full-time faculty.
So that is a tremendous amount to all focus around that one thing that we know matters to you, which is obviously that early childhood education and childcare. So with what you do now, what does a typical workday look like for you?
Well, one of the great things about this job and working in a small institution like North Central is I get to really spread my wings and be engaged in a lot of different things. But today is a perfect example of a typical day for me. I taught a class this morning, and I teach all of the early childhood education classes here at North Central. We do have one adjunct faculty part-time and hope to have some more because it's nice to give students a different perspective. I have office hours a couple times a week, so I get to meet with students and do some advising with them. And I really love that opportunity to get to have those one-on-one relationships develop. And I do a lot of community outreach. So I am also doing, for example, this outreach activity, also working on coordinating apprenticeship meeting for our regional Head Start, and working on some grants. And I'm also on the governing board for a state organization for early childhood education. So have a board meeting this evening. And so the days, I think that today, like I said, illustrates how diverse this position can be. And I love that about it.
That's the best way, I think, to have that career, is the one that gives you the opportunities to do different things at all points in the day that you can use all your skills. So if we're talking about skills, what skills are most important to the job you do today?
I think equally important are the ability to communicate effectively, get my message across, and those messages all come from a strong foundation of knowledge. So to be a professor and really to work with children and young adults of any age, you have to be a content expert, but you also have to know the best way to deliver that message to your audience. So those are the most important skills, I would say. I think having a lot of compassion and empathy for my students is very important, especially, with everything they've gone through with COVID, but also just the economic diversity and experiences we are having. Our young adults are really experiencing that firsthand and thinking about, the expense it takes to get to class and, their young parents and how to support them with childcare needs as well. So I think those human skills are really imperative when you're working with all people, but especially those who you're trying to model working in the future with young children and families.
Excellent. And so you have, a big focus in your job, and we've talked about this a lot and for our community. So if a student wanted to pursue a career like yours, or parts of where you are, what advice would you give them for your final question?
I would encourage students to connect with a professional like myself who has worked or is working in the field, to ask for the opportunity to work in a classroom, spend time in a classroom or a childcare setting. I find my students engage the most when we go out into the field and on those visits. And that's really how you find out if this is what you want to do. Mm-hmm. From that point, it's building the knowledge base, because there's so much to know and understand. And we've all been children, and we've been parented, and some of us are parents. So we do come to this experience with some past knowledge, but there's so much more to understanding the breadth of child development and how to best care and provide them the optimal experiences, whether it's in a childcare setting or an education setting. So getting into those classrooms or those childcare settings and coming to college and learning all the ins and outs of early childhood education.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Jennifer. I appreciate it. It's a great opportunity and a wonderful way for people to learn more about early childhood education and all that you do. So we'll make sure we put your contact information at the end of this video. Thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you, Nikki. What a great opportunity. I appreciate it.
Take care.